G'day friends, welcome to another flip, a very chatty flip through my completed 5-year Hobonichi techo. This is 2019 to 2023. We got up to September from the last video and I'm just going to keep going for however long I can go for. I have about 45 minutes, so we'll see how far that gets us. This is a really exciting time throughout the journal because it starts to lead into the holiday seasons, so everything gets a little Halloween-y, then it gets a little Christmassy, and obviously that's when I go off in the year. I just love it so much. So there's usually a lot to pack in. Also, it's a lot of the time I go home to Australia. So you can see we're kind of starting there with these photo strips. You might have seen in the previous videos, but I do photo strips every time I go on a holiday because it's the easiest way to pack in as much as I get done in a single day. These are really small spaces, so to really fit it all in, I just take photos constantly when I'm on my vacations, and then we put them all together. This one was kind of interesting because I went to my auntie's house and she has all this stuff from like childhood, like it's just kind of all this stuff from forever, like everyone's houses just all kind of ended up at auntie's house. And so we were going through all of our old stuff, like my old dance videos, my old school books, and then we came across these old school photos and portraits, and it was just really, really interesting to kind of dive down memory lane. Obviously, I'm sharing a video of me kind of documenting my life. Nostalgia is my favorite emotion and feeling. Like, I just absolutely love walking down memory lane. So that was a really fun day, and hence why it got the double feature spread across both pages. Alrighty. Oh, Playtest Press 3. I used to do these newsletter type, well, they were like newspaper type downloads for Playtest Patreon. I really loved those. They were something that took like the most amount of effort and I think for the least payoff, but that tends to be the way that I work when it comes to content. Not always, but a lot of the time in my workshops, I will do the most insane amount of effort for something that really doesn't mean a whole lot, but I like it. And then I have more of my photo strips. This is a little, like a little memory, little plaque thing at Plaza de la Familia in what's it called? DCA. Sorry, my whole brain just turned off. In California Adventure, when Steve does his Coco show, they have these and you can tie your memories to, it's kind of like a wishing tree type thing, but I don't know how to describe it. But we try our memories there. So I put mine about Gren, and I do that every time, like each year that I go, I leave one about Gren. And that's really nice. I'm already getting sentimental and a little upset. We should move on. This was Traditions. If you ever worked at the Disney company, you'll have done Traditions, I'm sure. That was the day I did my Traditions and kind of started my journey back to dancing. That was 2022. Doesn't feel like that long ago, but it's like 2 years ago almost. And then more holidays. Sometimes I'll accidentally, well, not accidentally, but I will purposefully put something that goes over 2 pages, thinking, or two sections, and I never think it's going to get in the way, but it usually does. So that's okay. We're very talented at making things work in journaling. I know we've got lots of creative workarounds, which is fine. Sometimes I used to, like in the past, I would never do things like that, just on the off chance that it would get in the way. But I think I've just become really comfortable with fixing problems as they come up, and put lots of little photos to fill in all these spaces as well. Oh look, that was a little picture I drew of that Playtest Press newspaper. It was a good thing. I liked it, but I've never done it since. This was cute too. We did Art Journaling the Magic. We used golden books, the little golden books, and every time we do a teacher trade, I was always trying to think of something that was just very Art Journaling the Magic related. And the golden books have a little motif pattern of these different animals on the side, or like in the gold. And I wanted to make a Disney version of that, since Art Journaling the Magic was all about Disney. So I used Disney characters like Dumbo, the daffodils from Alice in Wonderland. This bee was from something as well. That's Hey Hey from Moana. They're a completely random selection, but I tried to trade them out one for one. So when I saw the elephant, I was like, oh, Dumbo, that's easy. Some of them were a little bit more obscure, but anyway, then I made that. I've always been very proud of that. It's just a stupid little thing, but sometimes I feel like I have an idea and it just is something that really floats my own boat. Have I planned too much? Goodness, I feel very attacked by that. I'm literally right there right now. feeling the exact same way. This is Sophia having her little bath at Southwest Rocks. We have these traditions since I was a baby. We used to, when we go to Southwest Rocks, it was our, what's it called, like summer holiday destination every year for our whole family, like extended family and everything. Now a lot of my family lives there, so it's just really special. I just really love it. But the tradition was we would have these baths in the sinks rather than having like an actual bathtub, because it was mostly a camping ground or like a little holiday resort. And I don't know, for some reason they just took us to the washing, the laundry, and like would give us a bath in the sink. And then that's just always kind of happened, but we all have these photos of us having a little bath in the sink. My other niece, Savannah, has hers around here somewhere, and hers really cracks me up. There she is. She's in the sink. That's at Auntie's house. This one I think is at, I was going to say Gren's house. It's my mum's house, but it's her Gren. So I just love a tradition like that, but especially to have the photos. I took both of them, both my niece's photos. I think Steve took Elijah's. I think he did that, I think when he came to visit Australia, maybe. Either way, there's one of Elijah as well. That's my other niece, Savannah, the one that was in the sink earlier. She's much more grown up now. So cute to see them grow up. That's the thing that really hits me the hardest about the chunks of time that pass in this journal, is when I see the nieces and nephews, because they just seem to go from they like go from that to that to that so quickly. And I hate that because I'm away. I want to see them grow up, but I'm glad that I have all their photos. My sister sends me a lot of photos, but these are all the ones that I took while I was there. My calf, what have I done? That's so funny, I remember that. Every time something gets a little too painful, I get really stressed because I think I'm going to end up stop dancing again, but it didn't. Thank goodness. Oh, Playbox. Those stress me out. Oh, a whole red theme we've got going on here. Playboxes were fun, but that was a lot of work. I just remember boxes being everywhere, and the little tabs when you fold the boxes, because I got the boxes custom made, and when they came from the printers, they were unassembled, and so when I would fold them all up, each little thing that you would pop into it, here, I've got one here. This one was from 2019, I believe. So you could see it says Creative Playbox. Oh, that was for the dolls. Anyway, so see all these little bits? When you would fold them up, they would pop a little... Oh, look at these. These daisies? Maybe. They would pop little tabs out. And I just remember them being all around my house for months. I could never get them off my feet. Just little cardboard tabs. I'm a big black and white photo person. I just think it's more dramatic, and I just love the way it looks. It's also a lot more forgiving, because a lot of the times, like, I know this is not super relevant to people, but if you're someone that just thinks like, oh, maybe I don't know, I want to take photography, but I just don't think I'm good at it, black and white will save everything, because a lot of the times it's the colors in the photo that make it look like it wasn't that intentional, or that it's not that special. But when you black and white it out, as long as the tones are good, you tend to get something a lot more harmonious. Like a lot of the time the children are wearing like patterns and colors and everything that kind of clash, or they're on a swing set that is bright red or something like that. So once you make it black and white, it's just a lot easier to kind of focus in on what is actually happening rather than all the color and pattern that usually distracts. So this is why I'm a huge black and white fan. For my regular life, I don't really care that much. But when I'm trying to take my amateur photography, I do care. Oh, Queen Elizabeth II passed away. I have a few deaths memorialized in here, which is a little sad. Some family, and then some notable figures. I have Olivia Newton-John in here as well. It was sad. There's Elijah doing his journaling. Steve got sick. Steve never gets sick. It's like very, very rare that he gets sick. So I know it looks like I'm celebrating it, but I was just kind of noting it. Literally, I put, usually when I get sick, there'll be a big like sick. And I sometimes I just like to see if there's a pattern. Like each year I get sick around the same time. There used to be one day for like 3 years in a row. I just had terrible days that day, like bad migraines. I didn't feel well, like the world was ending. And then one year it just broke that streak. But I used to get nervous when I would come up to that day, because I was like, it's just going to be a bad day. I know it. But But yeah, I don't seem to catch any patterns with sickness, but all I ever noticed was that Steve never was sick, which I thought was really fascinating. And that through the years of COVID, we were rarely sick. Like, ironically, I think just because we weren't out and about. But yeah, anyway, that's Little Mermaid. Live action Ariel, love her. I was so excited to see that. I still love that movie. And then we're still going strong on The Holiday. Little baby. Just some random pre-Halloween stuff, I guess. That's my sister and her family. That's my sister there. She cries every time I leave. It's just a tradition. Which is very sweet. Ever since she was a little girl, she would come and visit me on every contract that I worked on. And I left when I was 18 to go to Japan, and she was 11. And so she would come and visit, and then I would go home for a few months in between contracts, then I'd go again, and then she'd come and visit that contract. So she really traveled the world, just coming to see me wherever I was, but every time we would leave, or she would leave to go back home, it was just the saddest thing ever. And I honestly thought one day she might grow out of it. Like, I thought it was just a thing she did when she was little, but all these years later, she still gets very emotional every time I leave. I love my little sister. It's just so weird to see her raising a family, because I remember her at all of these ages, and now she's doing it. But anyway, this was a really candid shot. I just thought it was so pretty. I loved it. I used my Canon, what's it called? EOS KISS T6i Rebel. I have no idea what it's called, but it's like a very entry-level camera, and it doesn't have nearly enough capacity. Like, I just want to take Steve's camera and use it. But sometimes I feel like not having, the best of something makes you a little bit more resourceful, but also kind of takes the pressure off, takes the edge off, because I knew I couldn't get certain things from the camera, so I was just kind of accepting, like, well, that's just gonna be what it is, and maybe I'll be a bit more creative with the editing. So that's that. There's sometimes the clarity of the picture doesn't look that great when it's blown up, because there's not enough information in there. But I'm an amateur photographer, and I refuse to go professional. I don't want to take the fun out of it by making it an actual thing. Wednesday Addams, love her. Warning, emotions ahead. Nothing quite like listening to your own podcast about your life and being thrown into a super heavy emotional state. Sometimes I just want to go back to 2015 for a day. Well, there you go. That was probably all about dancing, because 2015 is when I stopped. This was a great success. Good job, me, on this day. I literally made washi stickers in a day. That's them. I wanted to test a washi sticker manufacturer. I hadn't done that before, and they turned out really well. I thought they were really, really pretty. This is Stella and I at Disneyland. COVID-19 check. It's still here, still no plans. The rest of the world is moving forward. I feel like going to Oz. So that was September 2020. Maybe I did feel like the rest of the world was moving forward. I don't know. I think, realistically, I think America moved forward pretty quickly in the grand scheme of things. I know I was comparing a lot of my experience to what was happening in Australia, and I think they were like having concerts and going to theaters and stuff, and we weren't doing that at this point because there were still big surges. But Australia had managed to like mitigate the spread a lot. They had a lot more severe measures than we did, so I think that was kind of what I was referencing there. But then I have another COVID-19 check. I'm a Moderna girl in a Moderna world, so that makes me feel amazing. I think we're supposed to get boosters in December, ? Australia is announcing reopening plans soon, and my family is almost fully vaxxed. I'm getting my passport renewed so I can jet set as soon as I can. Japan, Italy, Australia, anywhere. Haha, need a holiday. That's so funny, because I would still go to any of these places, really. Steve wants to go to Italy. We might be going. Well, I know he's going. I'm still on the fence at this point, but it's not for a big holiday or anything. It's like a working thing. It's all... Oh, doing my absolute best, and it's all going to be just fine. I really like this Tim Burton-inspired Barbie. Some Apple the Vampire from Art Snacks. I got in a real creative frenzy with that one. No. Sometimes when I do this, not to out myself, but I have a really, really terrible day. Like feeling very depressed, feeling very overwhelmed. Sometimes I'll code what I want to actually write if I do want to document it for some reason. But sometimes if it's just a wash, I just do something like that and let it be. I'm not super mad about, not finding the good in the day. Like I know there are people, sorry, just wiping my nose. I know there are people that will make sure that they really try and put something down that's positive, but I just also think it's fine. There's going to be days in 5 years of a chunk of your life in 5 years. If you're not having days where you've had the most insane fights with your spouse or had the absolute worst days you've ever felt, then I don't know. I don't really know. It just seems kind of regular for people in a 5 year chunk of time. Like it's going to be in here. But I have to say, I'm glad that it's not a lot because I think that would be a little bit sad if I just kept seeing that over and over again. And I think is maybe the reason why the 5 year journal could be confronting for some people. I know I've mentioned a ton of different reasons, why you should do it, why you shouldn't do it, things to think of, ways to success, all of that. But really, I think that the overall theme that I get from this is that your life is always kind of looking back at you. You're always kind of checking in with yourself, and everything can be a little confronting, especially if you're going through something, because even if you don't write it down, when you sit down to write, it is in your head and you're thinking, ooh, should I write it? And like, no, I don't want to write it. And sometimes some of the things that you omit from the journal can be more revealing than the things that you actually put down. And so I've definitely been in that place myself where there were things that I didn't want to write down. So then I thought, well, if I don't want those to be something that I would put into this history, then I need to fix them now so that I don't have to. But even that takes like some level of acceptance. So it can be a little confronting sometimes. That's why people journal a lot for mental health reasons and to grow as people. That's not really why I started, but I do think there are great benefits to that. We had an earthquake and I had a breakthrough a decade later. This is super important. I don't know if I've explained this to everybody, but I have PTSD from the earthquake and the tsunami in Japan from 2011 and also from my car accident. And a lot of that resulted in some really difficult symptoms that I live with even daily still. And some of those are very personal. I've never actually shared those before. Who knows if I ever will? Probably not. But others I have kind of grown through and moved through and found ways to cope or ways to fix entirely. And I'm, for the most part, completely better than I was back then. But living in California, like we're a little seismic over here. I don't love that. And it is very hard for me to deal with the thought of earthquakes just kind of happening wherever and whenever. Because it's just something I never really worried about. And then even before 2011, I didn't really worry about it. Something happened because it was so big and so unimaginable feeling that one in 2011 that something in my brain just kind of snapped and triggered differently. And that's just kind of how PTSD is. It just kind of changes that brain chemistry. So I struggle with it a lot, but I've gotten much better. And in 2021, I had learnt a technique that seemed very too simple, like too good to be true when I first learnt it. And they just said it was an eye focusing technique. And that when you're in that moment, if you just focus your eyes on something, like laser focus your eyeballs on something and then do not move them. Don't allow your eyeballs to move around, because when your eyeballs start moving, your brain starts sending all the signals and, doing everything. But when you're trying to focus your eyeballs on one thing, it kind of blocks your brain's ability to start searching through itself for all the other little synapses it wants to fire, and it just kind of stops. So I focused, and the thing is with some of these therapies, it's a little bit exposure therapy. You kind of have to wait for the earthquake to happen again for me to see if it's going to work or not. But lo and behold, one did. And I'll read what I said. We had a small earthquake tonight as I was on the phone to Steve, and I had a breakthrough. For the first time in over 10 years, I kept calm. Hallelujah, praise Jesus. I had been waiting for a while to test this new to me focusing technique. I locked my eyes on my Blue Yeti microphone logo as soon as the apartment started shaking and kept my eyes locked until it kept my brain from PTSD hyperactivity, and I talked it through with Steve. And that's why I drew this, because I just locked my eyes on the Blue Yeti logo, did not move, kept there, and it was great. I didn't freak out. I didn't panic. I didn't feel like I was going to die. Nothing happened. I was able to move on with my life as per normal. Like from the 10 minutes before it happened, I was just going about my day. Before that, and we had a couple of earthquakes. It was somewhere around here. We had a couple of earthquakes a few years ago that made me feel like I couldn't even come home. Like I just had to go and sit out in an open field and just wait there and live my life out there because I couldn't be in the house. Like I couldn't be trapped in my apartment. So big progress. That was the day, so I had to commemorate it. I even did it here too. We had an earthquake a little recently, and I put my Coco sticker in there, my little Miguel sticker, because that's what I was looking at, or I drew him, either way. But I always like to commemorate it now with whatever I was looking at. Here's my new 5-year journal. So much emptier than the one we're looking at. And there's lots of beautiful things in here though, but it is very empty, I feel. Oh, earthquake, eye focus, ephemera. It was that. There was a Coco one, I'm sure. But anyway, one of the earthquakes, I looked right at that and did not move my eyes. And the other one was a Miguel sticker. So I commemorate that. This is, it's Tim Burton, but also another Japanese artist, I forget the name of, kind of inspired Cruella from the live action. I did this as a little present for the dancers in the Goring 20s last year. It's kind of like a portrait of us, but in a 1920s style. I did this as a thumbnail sketch. I was going to draw all of us together, but I didn't end up doing that. That's when I went to the Not Scary Farm preview, the cast preview. I kept my eyes closed the entire way to the theater because I could not bear the thought of having to see anything. This is at a Airbnb. There's an Airbnb around here that's like Haunted Mansion themed. And it literally is the Haunted Mansion in there. It's so crazy. I mean, it's not a ride, but all of the decor, I mean, it's very legit. The wallpaper is exactly the same as inside the Haunted Mansion. Someone just must have really loved it. And like the portraits change and everything. It's really clever. But people rent it out for birthdays and just like a little stay. I mean, you're close to Disneyland here, so I think some people think it's kind of a novelty. I don't really want to stay in there. Both times I've gone, it's been an option to stay, but I didn't want to stay in there. I don't know, it's a little too spooky for me. It's not scary, I think there's something about it that just feels haunted a little bit. So, but I've been there for birthday parties, and it's kind of a hoot. This was the Goring 20s. I think this must have been the day that we opened. Yeah, opening night. Goring 20s. That's at Not Scary Farm. It was a little balcony show where we would have a live band playing, and all of the scare actors were down on the street, and we were up on the balcony. We would do 4 sets a night, 5 sets. I think it was 4 sets a night. And we would dance, and then we would have one song off, and then we would dance for the next song, and then we'd have one song off, then we'd dance for the next song. It was kind of like a whole kind of interactive vibe. Another one of my Connector pen palettes. I've got Tim Burton Brain. Oh, this is a photo shoot we did in 2021. It was really funny. These yellow cloaks we had, we wore those so we could walk from our dressing room over to the balcony for the performance, but they like stood out. They stood out like crazy. I think we were supposed to be a little bit more hidden than that, but I don't know why we ended up with these yellow cloaks. And then people started saying things to us as we would walk. It wasn't a far walk, but we had to walk across like a main thoroughfare, and people would say all these names to us. They would call us all these things. So I started keeping a list of whatever they would call us, and I thought, well, at the end I'm going to make like a little thank you, like goodbye gift for my castmates. And I made a sticker pack that was all of the things that they called us photoshopped with this yellow cloak. So we originally had this photo, and I photoshopped this one into Singing in the Rain. There's a whole bunch, but you'll see them all throughout the journal. That was just what people would call us as we would go by. Ooh, I had a trend of being busy. My blister care pack. It's insane. Always loved her. Little pumpkin daisy. I love her outfit. You know what I think I didn't love, and why I don't think I feature things like this more, is because sometimes it still looks too digital for me. I colored her digitally. I drew her normal, and then scanned her in and then colored her digitally. And it just, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I can just notice how digital it is. I love her too, though. I really get down with the Halloween. It's not something I ever celebrated growing up. So I think I just make up for lost time. Oh, someone called us a bunch of bananas. I miss my mustache. I wish I could still have that. She's one of my faves too. I love her face. I think she's so cute. That's my wedding photo. I got married in shorts because I'm Australian. No, it was actually the hottest day of the year. And this is from 2016, so this kind of predates this journal, but our wedding anniversary is the 26th of September. This was last year. I think we went to San Diego. We went and saw Cabaret. We stayed at this hotel called The Guild. It was really nice. They had Santal 33, like bath and body, stuff in the room, and they sold it in their gift shop as well, which is really funny though, because Steve started using Santal 33, like he loves it. It's his kind of signature scent at this point. And when he sent me this hotel, he was like, should we stay here? He said, like, there's a good deal going on. We should stay here. It looks kind of fun. So I think it was like an old YMCA that they kind of converted or something. So it's got a lot of charm, like, and the rooms looked really nice. And then I said, oh, they've got Santal 33, like shower stuff, like body wash and everything. And he goes, you're kidding. Like he didn't even know. So we felt like it was a bit of fate. And we had a great time there. And it was really affordable. I kind of want to go back, but I think that deal is over now. So I'm not going back if I have to pay an arm and a leg. This was from our Concepts 2 stamping workshop. This is Lige and Savannah. And that's so funny because this is me with their mother. That's her. And we're both at Southwest Rocks. More from our honeymoon. We went to the Hotel del Coronado. It was so interesting to look at and like walk through. I feel like we should stay there. That would be fun. This was a funny part of the Goring 20s. We had this praying mantis that would stand on a light behind the band, and she kind of kept coming back. So we gave her a whole backstory, and her name was Amanta. She was Amanta, the praying mantis diva. She was like the mascot for our run at Not Scary Farm. And then so I drew her in the costume that the girls wore. And I don't know, it's so weird. I don't know if people can relate to this, but when I use like the skills I have to draw to do something so ridiculous and so funny, like a very inside joke for friends, sometimes that is like the most proud I ever am that I developed the skills to draw. Like not for any personal reason, I mean, I do love being able to draw. I do love that I've spent my whole life, enjoying drawing and learning more about it and getting to a point where I'm happy with my skills. But I think for some reason, whenever I draw something for friends that is very funny or a very inside joke or, very specific and, to an experience, I think that's when I don't know, I just really appreciate that I have that skill because it just seems like so special. And when people do it for me, I feel like it is the best thing that's ever happened. Like if someone gives me a hand-drawn thing, it happened in Japan a lot when we used to dance over there. Fans would draw things and give them to us. Like they'd draw pictures of us in the show or draw little, things that we could have. And they were just my favorite gifts to receive. So I don't know why that just really feels special to me, but it's also just like a level of humor that you have to put a lot of effort into to actually create this. Like, it's funny. I don't know. The babies. More of the babies. We're starting to really get over the hump at this point. It's just when it starts to get really hard to write and I have to prop the book up like this and kind of pull that down. It's just impossible. This was my makeup chart for the Goring 20s. I was called Shimmy Jimmy, which no one calls me Jimmy. In my whole life, one of my aunts and a dance teacher called me Jimmy, and I never really loved it. Like I didn't really respond to it from anybody else, and it was fine that they did, but I don't know, no one's just ever called me that. And then the band leader was coming up with nicknames for everybody, and I would shimmy a lot, so I became Shimmy Jimmy. And I had glitter all over my face. I love this glitter. This is the Stickles Platinum. I think that's one of my favorite glitters. That's a finale costume for Christmas at Disneyland. Look, I'm sick. It's not fun, but I know I said I just did that, so I wanted to show you that I actually did it. Daisy Ween. Oh, we're in October. Oh, this is when it gets to Inktober. So I did this Inktober challenge here, and then there's a Daisy Ween, but then I redid the Daisy Ween as these cute little drawings as well. So there are like 3 different three different items on each of the next 31 pages that all relate to those specific things. So the Inktober and the Daisy Ween double, really. I have the original that I drew for the book, and then the one that I redid as a part of the minis that I think I did for Collage Club. I don't even know, why did I do those? Did I just not have enough to do? I mean, that sounds like me. I usually give myself too much to do. Speaking of, maybe I should just cut the video here because we made it through a whole month and I really don't have the time to get through the entirety of October. So I'm just going to leave it here and then we will start again the next time. Put my little what is this, A6? It's not A6. What's this called? My Weeks vertical pencil board in there, and we will come back to this another time. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful weekend or week or whenever you're watching this. I'll be flipping this journal until it is finished and fully flipped and chatted through. You know I like to keep taking my time with this one because it's so special. So we'll get to October the next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.